This is Hitler's final attempt at turning the tide of war on the Eastern Front. A war that for the last several months has been going very badly for the Germans. Since their disastrous defeat at Stalingrad in February of 1943, Soviet forces had been relentlessly battering the Germans, forcing them into a 180-mile fighting retreat back towards Germany. By the end of the winter, the German army on the Eastern Front is shattered and teeters on the brink of destruction. But Hitler is determined to reclaim the initiative in the East, and he makes plans for a massive counteroffensive. His plan is to launch a large-scale pincer maneuver to cut off the Soviet-held Salient, centered on the industrial town of Kursk. The goal? Encircle and destroy the 500,000 Soviet forces in the Kursk Bulge. But the battlefield is huge. 120 miles long and 90 miles deep, most of it rolling farmland. In the wide open spaces of the fabled Russian steppes, it's ideal for tank warfare. It's a formidable objective, and over the spring and early summer, the Germans amassed 2 entire army groups. 780,000 men, close to 10,000 guns, and 2,500 tanks. An immense force that will shake Mother Russia to the core. But this buildup has not gone unnoticed, and as the Germans prepare for Operation Citadel, so do the Soviets.
Now the enemy is gathering its massive strength. He wants to gain revenge for their defeat in Stalingrad. So our commanders decided to recoup in the spring and regroup us in preparation for defense. Either we would attack right away, or by defending, exhaust our enemy.
To meet the impending German attack, the Soviets build up almost 2 million men, 25,000 guns, and more than 5,000 tanks. And all across the Kursk salient, they dig in. 300,000 civilians pick up shovels and dig more than 2,500 miles of anti-tank ditches and trenches. And Soviet sappers lay 400,000 mines.
We had anti-tank guns, and they were amazing. And of course, tanks.
The backbone of the Soviet armored corps is the T-34 medium tank. With a 76mm main cannon and 1.8 inches of sloping frontal armor, the 34-ton T-34 has a deadly balance of firepower, protection, and mobility. By the summer of 1943, Soviet factories have produced tens of thousands of them. And all across the Kursk salient, the T-34s move into position. July 5th, 1943. After 3 months of preparation, the Germans are finally ready for their attack. 1 hour before Operation Citadel is to begin, Soviet gunners unleash a massive artillery attack on German positions.
The Germans were astounded. They never expected this from Russians.
As it was dusky, it looked like fireworks. as it was impossible for the Russians to figure the time of the attack. Exactly 1 hour prior to the planned attack.
But the Soviets knew the time of the attack to the minute. They captured a team of German sappers who revealed it under interrogation. The artillery barrage causes chaos in German lines and delays the launch of Operation Citadel. But only for 1 hour. Shortly after dawn, the Germans attack. It's a massed armored onslaught that even today stirs feelings of bitterness.
The German tanks were advancing towards us. Each tank carried 20 to 30 devils, all of them drunk like shoemakers.
And that's when all hell broke loose.
The earth and sky were burning. Tanks were on top of tanks. Soldiers on soldiers. Armageddon. But we kept our word. No backing away. Not even a step. For Stalin.
By the end of the day, the Germans have made only modest inroads into the vast network of Soviet defenses along the Kursk salient. In the south, the German 4th Army's panzers advance only 10 miles. While in the north, the 9th Army has fared even worse, with gains of only 6 miles, at a cost of dozens of tanks and more than 1,000 men. So far, Operation Citadel is going nowhere. And now, Soviet forces along the northern shoulder of the Kursk Bulge prepare to counterattack. There are skirmishes all along the front. In one encounter, more than 100 T-34s and lighter T-70s of the Soviet 16th Tank Corps clash head-on with the 2nd German Panzer Division. The Panzers approach in a V formation with their biggest tanks in the lead.
And in front of us, we counted 17 Tigers.
The Tiger is the German Army's biggest tank. Encased in over 4 inches of armor, it is practically impervious to frontal attack. But it is the Tiger's 88mm cannon, with a range of more than 2,000 yards, that makes it the deadliest weapon on the Kursk battlefield.
The horrible epic battle began. Half of our tanks were lightweight. They ran on gas, and they would burn up like candles.
But Ivan Sagun is in a heavier T-34. In the confusion, he moves out of the bushes and into the crosshairs of 2 German Tigers. He fires twice, but the shells bounce off.
Our tank had a 76mm gun. It didn't penetrate their tank.
He is saved by Soviet anti-tank guns. the Germans keep coming.
My lid was open, so I could look out and find the target. And in jumps the commander of my battalion. His tank got hit and it burned out. Enemy infantry surrounded him, so he decided to hide in mine. And as soon as he jumps into my tank, I get hit. His head is just ripped off. I was drenched in blood. His brain, everything was all over me.
The first rule on this battlefield is shoot first or die.
And that's the kind of hell it was on July 6th.
In less than 2 days of fighting, tens of thousands of men die on both sides, and the hulks of hundreds of tanks lie in the burning fields around Kursk. And it's only the beginning. The Germans now prepare to strike again. Their target, the small rural village of Ponary, a quiet railway stop that is about to become ground zero in one of the bloodiest battles of the Second World War.